Shifting gears a little bit, I mean, I'd be curious to know, what problems or questions you are occupying the most of you and your staff's time. Where are you allocating human capital?
That's easy. Inflation-protected portfolios. Under what conditions do the odds of inflation go up? What are the precursors? What are the signs that we're slipping into it? It's difficult. It's not as obvious as the bears would say. It's not guaranteed we'll have hyperinflation or massive inflation or even moderate inflation. Technically it is possible if we play our cards right to avoid inflation. And you look at the players who are in charge and you say, well, they messed up on the housing bubble and they messed up on seeing the subprime troubles and everything else, and that's true. But they're very different skill sets. Maybe they can handle inflation much better than they could handle the other problems. Maybe Bernanke, who couldn't see a 3 sigma housing bubble, inexplicable, nevertheless will be able to handle inflation, which is his specialty. And we better hope that he treads very carefully through the minefield, because there are a lot of mines, and even normal human error will probably produce some inflation.
Do you have any tentative conclusions as to sort of signs people should be looking for that the inflationary pressures may be taking hold in a more structural fashion?
Not that I'm confident enough about. We have a kind of brains trust in asset allocation, 14 of us with very different backgrounds, and a couple of good historians, and we chew over this and chew over it, and I'm hoping that we'll have a couple of insights come down the pipeline, and it does quite often happen eventually. You just look at it and kick it and turn it over and check the data a different way, and sometimes you can get more confidence. But it is just a very broad range of possible outcomes. And our leaders did a pretty good job of leaping from one mine to the next one instead of stepping through the minefield. And if we start to do that, then of course the long bonds are dead meat and
deader meat.
Deader meat, and there isn't much safety margin in them anyway. So even seeing the world as probabilistic, and even being a relative bull that we will muddle through on the inflation front, I'm still short the long bond. And if the bears are halfway right, I'm going to make a lot of money.
Well, with that knotty question, I think we'll have to wrap up and get you to your next session. Thanks very much for spending the time with us.
That was enjoyable.
Real pleasure. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.